Hey Ranger Nation, welcome back to another video, and today I kind of wanted to bring up a topic that has been going around the fandom and I think a lot of people don't understand at the same point, and this is that they want, or some of the fandom wants Disney to buy Power Rangers again to produce TV shows, and I'm here to talk about why it shouldn't happen. So a comment was left on my last video, which was Power Ranger Fan Fest Let's Go, by Matthew Morrison, saying, can you make a video on why Disney can't buy Power Rangers? People are saying Disney should buy Power Rangers, please tell them. And now when I kind of read this, I was like, oh, I thought everyone kind of knew what happened, but obviously not. So we're going to kind of talk about it today. But before we do this, if you want to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as the cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. And yeah, let's kind of jump into it. So first of all, Disney owned Power Rangers and they bought it from Saban halfway through Wild Force, and so that's where we kind of get maybe a difference in storytelling, etc, etc. And RPM was the last series that they wanted, and that was meant to be the final series of Power Rangers, and Disney were going to sit on the rights so that no one else could make this whatsoever. So I'm taking all this information from the Power Rangers visual novel. It is a great book. It's an official book, and it talks a lot behind the scenes. And there's a lot of information. Go buy it, because it's you're going to see a lot more stuff in this that will tell you from behind the scenes. And this is where I'm getting most of my information from. So I'm going to say this. Disney was embarrassed by owning Power Rangers. And you can tell by multiple different things, because the way that things started happening near the end of its run. And I think at the time, Disney wanted to buy a boys brand that everyone had. And so if you didn't know, the reason why Disney bought Power Rangers was because they didn't have any sort of live action boys sort of brand. The first thing that you say is like, hey, what do you think of Disney? They go, oh yeah, I really love Disney princesses, or I like the Disney films, and majority of them were designed for women, and that's not a bad thing whatsoever. But Disney wanted to branch out and have a more mature audience, and they wanted a boys brand to have behind their back, or in their pocket or something like that, and that was the main thing of why it was bought completely. Now, I don't think Disney knew exactly what they were getting into, and this was a big thing. But in the end, they didn't want it anymore. I think they were embarrassed, and I think that they didn't really understand how Power Rangers was. Now, yes, we did get some great seasons. Your favorite season, or whatever it would be within the Disney era. Yes, there are some really good seasons out there, but they're also really not that great seasons. That's not lie. Some people like SPD more, some people love Mystic Force more. Whatever you want, it's not a debate on which is good or bad season, but you could see the sort of decline. I know I didn't write this down, but one thing was that each year Power Rangers would have a budget. SPD ate into the budget to the point where Greg had to put his own money into it, from what I remember. And again, if you run out of budget and Disney don't give a shit about giving you more, or don't kind of go over it, then you kind of think, well, what's going to happen? But SPD is one series that everybody loves, etc, etc. Now, when I wrote this, I should have kind of picked up. So Eddie Guzlian, who I probably got his surname wrong, Eddie, we're going to call him, is for all of this. When he was brought on board, he had no prior knowledge on how Power Rangers worked whatsoever. And that kind of makes me worried, to the point where if you have no experience with live action, why would you bring someone like that onto making Power Rangers? It just doesn't make sense. And I think at this point, Disney just didn't give a shit. And I think that's one of the kind of first steps. So I'm kind of reading from the book. So with Jackie Marchand being there to kind of help the way through for the transition, this is something that you kind of think you'd put someone that's worked with a brand mainly on there. But from this, obviously she was helping him going through Power Rangers to try and help and stuff like that. But apparently Eddie's scripts were coming in wayland, apparently, way too late and stuff like that. Now, previously, exactly what happens. Here is the script, this is what we're working with, and you'd have them on time so the actors and everyone else would know. With this, from what I've been reading, is that this never happened, and they were kind of wayland, which is a big thing in some eyes. You think that you would keep everything normal and to the letter from previously, rather than them being late. Disney mentioned that they were happy with the creative results, but they weren't happy with how cut close it was. So with it being cut close, I feel like with this one it would be like, oh, the deadline for the show has to be done, and they'd be like, oh, we're just cutting it close. Now, no company likes it. They like to probably have it done a bit earlier, just so that they can get the work in. Disney runs a tight ship. They want results. They want everything straight away. So rather than having it like maybe a bit late so it can go on production, so it can be shown, you'd want it to be earlier so you can easily keep going and keep the kind of production flowing. Now, Chip Lynn was then brought in, and in an online interview, he said that the ideal circumstances weren't great, and they were quite bad. So you kind of think that with Disney looking at this, they're going to go, well, we're not going to kind of carry on with the show that much. But I think that Chip did turn things around. Disney was looking for a buyer. You think that if the show was that great, if the show was doing really well, that they would keep on it, not halfway through the season or the beginning of RPM where they started looking for a buyer. In my eyes, that the brand's not going anywhere. Toy sales aren't doing very well. Maybe viewership is down, and you're not happy about this. This to me shows that Disney just wanted rid, or that they were going to sit on the rights. And if they sit on the rights, no matter who came along, if they weren't selling, say for example, even if Saban came back and they were like, no, we're not selling the rights, there's nothing we could do, and RPM would have been the last series. It also states in the book that this was the last season that they were working on. There was no intentions of renewing it for Power Rangers, Samurai, or Shinkange or whatever, that they were literally going to kill the brand right there and then. Disney said that they knew that this was going to be the final series, and Eddie mentions that they were swinging for the fences, and they kept reminding him. So can you imagine like a conference call? Hey Eddie, how's it going today? It's going well. Yeah, well, this is the last season of Power Rangers that you're going to be working on, the last ever season of Power Rangers. And if you keep hearing that, you're going to be like, all right, cool on that. So why would a show cancel it, then want to rebuy it years later when they pretty much have one of the biggest powerhouses on the planet, which is Marvel? These are official sources saying that Disney wanted Power Rangers cancelled. So with all this, I know that Disney won't buy the brand back. If they keep saying, hey, we want this gone, then that's it, they want it gone. They're not going to then rebuy it for 500 million or 600 million or whatever Hasbro wants to sell it for, if they do sell it, and we know that they won't. So Disney buying back just means either we go back to regular seasons, but at the end of the day, if they don't care or they don't believe in the series, then that's it. They're going to be done with it, and you're not going to get that series where it comes back and it's like, oh man, this is so great. Just think about this: if scripts were coming in late, if Chip says that Disney weren't happy, why would they want to buy it back? It just doesn't make sense on a financial level. And again, maybe going off script, I think fans, they say one thing and they want it because they want the nostalgia back. I remember this happening with Disney. As soon as like the first couple of seasons, or even the first season, they were like, oh, we want Saban to buy it back. Saban knew how it was run. Saban knew this. And I've seen this happen all the time. I've been in this fandom for long enough to see what happened over on Ranger Board, over in Facebook. What people are saying is they always go, I want this, I want that. And it just doesn't work. Disney, if they did buy it back, Disney would probably make 1 or 2 seasons, see that there isn't any gain, and then they'll bury it. They'll bury it faster than anything, and they won't release it again. Again, I think what's happening is fans are looking back and they're going, I want this because I had a very fun time watching SPD. I remember the good old days of Dino Thunder. And I think this is the main thing that they want to go for. But you have to look at it realistically. This is a business. This is a thing where they have to make money. It's not what I want or our feelings or I want this. Like, I want seasons to be adapted, don't get me wrong, but I also see this from a business point of stance. If you're not making money, why would you want to keep producing something that costs you millions of dollars to produce when you're not even getting any investment back or even breaking even? Now, look at your favorite Disney season. It's not perfect. Dino Thunder is, I think, one of my all-time favorite seasons, but it has its flaws. I know JDF had some problems and he had some emergencies and stuff. but having him morphed all the time and then just getting him to come back for ADR, you know, look at SPD, look at Mystic Force, look at Operation Overdrive. They all have their problems some level, but I feel like fans just want it because they want the nostalgia back. As I said before, as soon as Disney bought Power Rangers, you know, everyone complained and they wanted Saban to buy it back. This is just literally the exact same thing that I'm seeing with Hasbro. I guarantee in a few years people will just be like, really like what Hasbro's doing, you know, and then that's it. You know, it's just, it happens in the fandom so many times, and it will happen to whoever Hasbro sells it to next, and then onwards and onwards. It's gonna happen all the time. I'm not gonna lie. Guarantee you can quote me on this. From what I see, is Hasbro doing okay for what they're doing now. I know that there's some bad stuff going on, but for what I see is I know Hasbro are doing a good job for what they are, and it's not just me saying it, is I see it in the production. They're willing to change and adapt, where Power Rangers slightly did back in Disney, you know, but then obviously when Saban bought it back, it went exactly the way of the 90s and stuff like that. He knew he was getting a good deal when buying it back from Disney, and Disney at least made a little bit of money from those rights. But yeah, that's going to be another video for another day. But I kind of really wanted to talk about this. I kind of really wanted to give points. So just to kind of reiterate, just to kind of quickly go over it. One, Disney knew exactly RPM was going to be the last season. They didn't want to make any more. They were happy with the creative way it was going forward, but they didn't like how things were going on. So again, think of it like this. If that's the thing that you took away, again, it's like if you worked in retail and you had a bad person working with you and then they got fired, but then would you want them to come back? If your manager was saying, hey, I'm thinking we're going to bring this person back, you're instantly going to go, well, no, even if they've changed a little bit, they're going to go back into probably bad habits. You know, it's probably not going to be the best thing in the entire world. But I'm going to end it there because I feel like this is a thing. Disney will not buy back Power Rangers whatsoever. They will not touch it because they've probably got some bad blood. They don't like the way it was going. They were not making the money back from the investment, and that's what probably is. Remember, these companies want money. That is all that they do. If they like where it's going and it's making them money, they will keep going. That's why Bandai did a lot of Mighty Morphing, because that's where the money is, and that's where Hasbro are doing. They're going for the money. So just kind of look at it in a business sense. Enjoy the series still, but just kind of when it comes down to these discussions, think of it from a business point of view. If you're going to make money, you're going to make money. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to rant too much. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think, after hearing this, that Power Rangers should be bought by Disney? Or do you think it's in good hands with Hasbro? Let me know what you think down below. And if you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as the cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.
チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。